Right. Have you discussed direction finding yet?
No.
Yeah, we've done that. You're too late.
Oh, well, that's fine. There's no point me studying.
The key bit before you start, Brian, in one line summary, was that all my previous attempts at DFing were completely and utterly erroneous because I got my theory wrong, and I'd realised in more recent times that the peaks are where I thought the nulls were, so everything was 90 degrees off.
Yeah.
So the source of my interference is probably 150 yards from where I thought it was. Probably out front. In fact, it might even be the telephone wires. I've still to prove that.
Yeah, yeah.
It might be on the telephone wires.
Now, I've been in contact with Golf 3 Zulu Oscar India, who has in the past done a couple of articles in the Radcom on direction finding, on transmitters and receivers, and he does kits for both, or he did, but he no longer does kits per se on eBay because of the erroneous customs problems with and Brexit and everything else. But he can offer printed circuit boards with some of the SMD devices soldered on. Most of the stuff he's got is through the hole, which people prefer. And he was talking about a receiver being something like about 25 quid for the kits of all new parts when it was around, and the transmitter being about £55. The transmitter he's got generates 1 watt, but it's 10 channels. So you can set the transmitter to whatever and bury it, and then people can try and find it. But I don't know if this is what we want to do as a club.
So this is for recreational DFing?
Yes, yeah.
Or radio sport.
Yes.
Which frequencies? Because DFing...
80 meters.
Yes, right. Yonks ago, it used to be on top band.
Yeah.
And then a certain amount on VHF, and then the AR, not ARDF, yes, the ARDF mainly within region 1 was more on 80 meters. So is that where the most of the activity is now?
Well, I don't know, but that's what he does. And he's on, I think, Mark II of his transmitter and receiver. But if it was a club effort, we could have people building bits and pieces and then get them all together. I don't know what people's thoughts are, because it's this man in the corner here. I'm pointing at him now, Peter. You were interested in DF, weren't you, Peter?
Yes, I was coming at it from the point of view that a couple of people, like Dave and 1 or 2 others, had trouble with interference, and they were trying.
Yeah.
From the sound of it, I got a massive loop, measured in meters, which is a bit unwieldy to walk down the street. And I was then thinking about the people who do the contests, a sort of a mixture of radio and orienteering.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, you know, that could be useful for a number of us, whether we build one each or we build a club one, and we can then just sort of borrow it when we've got a problem.
That's right. Yeah. But I think also if we built a transmitter and a receiver, then if as a club we wanted to go out and do a bit of fox and hounds, we could do it. On the other hand, if somebody wants to borrow the receiver because they've got noise problems, they can do that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Dave, you've looked at those couple of videos that I sent you, and that was mainly direction finding for tracking down interference. In your view, is that a very different type of technology that we'd have to use for tracking down interference compared with doing DF hunting?
I'm not sure. I'd like to know more about the stuff that Brian's found out about, and if a kit of bits is about 25 quid for the receiver, I'd be willing to sort of build one myself, whether there's only one other club one or whether several people want to do it. But Do you know what sort of antennas he uses? Because I've read up a bit, and as you say, a lot of it is either 2 meters, people waving around HB9CVs or something,
Yeah.
or it's top band, and quite often on top band they use a ferrite rod aerial, but then you also have a little omnidirectional vertical aerial poking out of a dedicated DF, you know, fox hunt type receiver, which is omnidirectional, and that then converts what would be a sort of figure of 8 response with 2 peaks and 2 nulls into a sort of cardioid response. So you still you just use the ferrite rod to get because the null is far more accurate than the fat low peak. But when you sort of you can swing around to then peak it and use the second antenna, it's, I don't know, sort of phased in somehow, and you that'll then tell you whether it's, you know, left or right sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that's what the sort of radio sport guys use, so that avoids trying to do triangulation and ending up, you know, sort of realizing it's miles away in the opposite direction. But
what I'll do is I'll email, his name's Dave, I'll email him tonight and ask him for more technical aspects about his design. There were 2 publications that I noted in the newsletter that have not been publicized yet. And I think they are possibly ones that he might be putting into Radcom. I don't know. But
okay,
that's also an avenue to visit to see if it meets what you want.
Bearing in mind this is probably out of date, then this was the this is the current website that he is fronting
he's
here.
updated it since I last saw it.
So this is the 80-meter receiver, completely self-contained unit, and you can see inside it's got the ferrite rod there.
I was going to say, yeah, that's the ferrite rod antenna, and then
this is the sense antenna. That's it, which is then switched in and out. And well, I suppose you have to know what the knob does, but there you go. And there you are. There's even a circuit diagram there, and there's the sense antenna there for the little whip, and there's the ferrite rod. So as you say, it looks relatively simple and straightforward, and would work for the sort of range that you're talking about across most DF activities. And there's a little transmitter here that looks, as you say, like the sort of thing you can bury or hide in, even in wet conditions, and it'll transmit, what's that say, half a watt or so with some sort of external aerial. And again, there's a circuit diagram of what it is.
I think they normally have a wire running up a tree, don't they?
It's whatever that they get, because the idea is to not have the antenna visible, so you use very, very thin wire. And as you say, if you can run up a tree, if you can do that, whatever is possible within the areas where you're operating. And these looks like the PCBs then that he can supply.
His PCBs, he's just had a batch in for both the transmitter and receiver. I had an email from him this morning to say that he's populated the receiver and it works okay. So he's happy with those PCBs, and they're going at a couple of quid a time. There you'll notice that it's like a tape measure.
Yeah, so this is a 2 meter one. So he does 2 meter stuff as well.
3 element on 2 meters, yeah.
And again, a little receiver, which all goes together. And similarly, is there a 2 meter transmitter as well? Yeah, there's a little 2 meter transmitter. Again, you know, completely self-contained, so you can chuck it somewhere and hide it, and stick an aerial on the outside there. So
what I'll do, Malcolm, is I'll email him and I'll ask him for a list of materials required to build this, because he doesn't supply them all now. So if he gives me a list of materials and what I need to get if I want to buy one, then I can go and price them and just see what it comes out at.
And what's the general feeling amongst the members? You know, do you think this is something that several people would be interested in building, or is interference tracking down more of a priority? It's, you know, just to get a feel for who's keen on messing around with things like this.
Yeah, well, I think it probably cuts across the board in both ways, because if you've only got one and the club owns it, you want to keep loaning out to people to go and find out source of interference, that's fine. But if one day somebody says, oh, well, let's do a bit of fox and hounds, if you've all got a receiver each and the club's got the transmitter, away you go.
Yeah,
and I would think that would be quite a good sort of evening's exercise, because you used to do it down at Whitehill Centre, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We had a fox hunt a couple of times.
That's right. Yeah. But
right, yeah,
sort of thing.
I've never got involved in that, I must admit. It's one area I haven't pursued, but I know all sorts of people who do it. Some of them absolutely deadly seriously.
Oh, too right. Yeah,
Bit like you contesters then.
Sorry?
well, yeah, I know. The difference is, you see, when DFing sort of was around when I was relatively young, which is now quite a long time ago, it was mainly top band in cars, and people would drive around and take bearings with their top band portable things, but drive around in cars. And in the rest of Region 1, they were all terribly athletic, and it's all done on foot, and it's a sport in the sense that this would appeal to James, wouldn't it? You know, the sporty nature of,
He's just had a top
DFing.
I saw him put the glass down as he came round the corner.
Only medicinal, I'm sure. But yes, so much more the sort of outdoor type activities, and the Region 1 DF hunts. What they do there is they plant about 6 or 8 transmitters in a relatively small space. I say relatively, it's still a few kilometers, and you're supposed to run between them, and that is where it's a cross between orienteering and radio, rather than the old top band DF, which was like you just find one fox in a whole evening. So yeah, it's they certainly look like very straightforward devices to build. Yeah,
I would think so. I would certainly go for one. I would order one.
Yeah, I'd do a receiver, and pleased to see it hasn't got any surface mount, so my my eyes are not really good enough to tackle that stuff anymore.
As we saw from the printed circuit board, there's not that many components that go on it.
No,
and 80 meters rather than 2 meters. Then I take it people are thinking.
I would think maybe 80 meters, but then it's only going down we've got interference routes.
How big was the transmitter again? Did it give
Okay, I'll show you if I can find that again. All right, so this was that was the 2 meter one. Let's go on. So there's 2 80-meter transmitters here. One that's in one of those little plastic tubs, and you can see that is an AA battery there. So you get the idea of the size of that compared with the AA battery.
AAA?
Yeah, no, it's too big.
Oh yeah, AAA. Sorry, it says AAA. What were you after, Chris?
No, I was thinking of tortoise tracking.
Oh. Off net, I'll tell you about our friends in Scotland who have got cat trackers, which is much more the sort of thing. It's that size, and then they also do sorry, looking on the wrong screen, 3-watt one. So that's a bigger metal encased one. No, that won't do for your tortoise either.
No, that's far too big.
Probably break its back.
I think 80 meters probably isn't the best thing for a tortoise tracker, though. Now, what's Guy just sent us a link on?
Those are my cat trackers from Track Active.
Ah, right. So you have actually got. There you go. So let's see if I can find that for Chris here.
So they are
worn on the collar, and they have a battery and a GPS and a GSM modem in them.
And
so
our cat would lose it within a day.
So my cat has previously lost those, but of course, because of its GPS, I go finding it.
Yeah, quite.
So I've done my own fox and hounds of finding that little thing.
So how you attach it to the back of your tortoise would be your own challenge there, Chris.
Super
Harold
glue.
died, yeah.
Super glue, yeah.
Actually, they've changed. On these trackers, they've just changed how they clip onto the collars, and since they changed it, never lost one again. So they've made some improvements there.
Well, the good thing, I suppose, Guy, is that you won't ever lose the tracker. You might lose your cat, but you won't lose the tracker.
Yeah, the tracker always comes home.
Is that, just out of interest, Guy, is that
You
one
have to go out and fetch it.
is that one a subscription service, or does that just work straight to you?
No, it's a subscription service because you're on a GSM modem.
Right. Yeah.
But it allegedly works worldwide, but I hope my cat never leaves the borders of the country.
Well, he won't get a passport for coming back in again.
No, quite.
One-way trip.
It is quite expensive. It's I think over 2 years. It's I can't remember now. I think it's sort of
£90. It says for 2 years.
Yeah, there you go.
Basic, or 200 for premium. Whatever.
I haven't done premium.
Premium. You want a premium cat? Yeah.
No,
Yes, premium, you get the whole cat back. The other one, you only get bits back.
I'll tell you, well, our cat isn't worth 200 quid.
Yeah.
So.
No, I just did the 90 quid.
Imagine that. Knock on the door. Here's a leg.
Dave, we were talking a little while ago about the couple of video links I sent you, and can you remind me, or do you remember which one was about building the loop and which one was about finding the lawnmower or something?
Yes, it was a charger, smart charger for a big lawnmower ride on or something, you know. But similar problem to what I've got. It was characteristic, great noisy spikes sort of thing.
Yes,
repeating it, you know, from classic switch. Although he said it reset after every couple of minutes or something, which is a bit weird. So I presume it was sensing for a charged battery, but got the impression the owner left it plugged in and sort of live even when he wasn't charging his lawnmower. But
which is a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
you got them there?
Yeah. Hang on. That's right. I've just tracked down which one it is. So here we are.
Well, without going into the other room and trawling through on the other computer.
That's okay. I'll share this one, and we can just have a little watch of this one. I've got to do this, haven't I? That's
I'm going to say they're only a few minutes each, I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or you can skip through some of it if need be.
Yeah. If it's
research on QRM and RFI, I decided to make a directional finding loop.
So this is the design of the loop. It's a 900mm length of coax. I'm going to use RG213. It's terminated at the end with a T-piece, and there's going to be a PL259 on each end. I've bought the cheapest PL259s I can find. I'm not going to use my good compression ones. And basically, coax goes round to the top. The top has 20mm of the braid bared off, so there's just a core there, and then it comes back around and terminates the bottom of the loop again.
That's to avoid a shorted turn.
I have an connection with centre and braid, and the other connection is braid only. So I'm going to finish my coffee and start building the loop.
I think it should be centre only in actual fact, or some people put the centre and braid together.
Yeah, let's have a look and see what it is when he builds it.
I built it as per his things, what I think is wrongly, and then I built it now according to various other things.
Fitted normal way, still needs soldering.
It wasn't that different actually.
With just the braid, so time to fit this one. Not forgetting.
So what he's doing is not connecting the centre.
Yeah, so the centre isn't a complete loop. It sort of goes all the way around but doesn't go anywhere. So it's almost, you know, like a straight rod bent round in a loop, sort of fed at one end only, which seems to be against the theory of lots of other articles I resourced.
Yeah, and then breaking the braid halfway around. Yeah, so he just cuts the center off altogether.
I'm just wondering whether I should just put a bit of tape on that just to make sure
that it doesn't contact.
Connecting.
Let's skip on a bit to the construction.
Yeah, slightly tedious.
That tip. We know that one hasn't got a tip. That one needs soldering. Said and done.
How to solder?
Do there. Just to check. Nothing coming through the centre because we've disconnected that end. But the outside coax. The shield still
in the way of the
now
meter.
we have to bear.
Sorry.
This 20 mil.
I was looking for a reading.
Remember from the diagram, we now need to bear off 20 mil of braid across the centre. So we need to measure 450 along the coax because this is 900 long. That's the centre, and then we need 10 mil either side. So having wrestled.
I think we're going to do the blue piece. I've got one here I've already done.
Yeah.
Oh, he's still doing it.
Yeah, he's using bits of tape to make the marks. So
yeah.
So now we get the T-piece. So that is the beginnings of the loop. Might need to support it just to take the strain off those. Maybe a little broom handle or something. But that's
so there he is. He's attached it to a broom handle.
20 mil conduit. Cable tied. The T-piece. Put a female on because I didn't have a female T. And then I've got a long enough pole to hold that up high. But any pole will do. Wood, plastic, anything that's non-conductive. So, patch lead on there, rig on the other end, ready to go I think. Seems to be down this way, so I'm getting close. So I've come past the old houses, there's some more new ones being built, and it's definitely coming from up there. If I turn the volume back up, I'll show you the loop. So it's that way again.
That's the noise I get.
Right.
Just reset there. So it's that way. So go back up.
And in the next video, once we get New Year's Day out of the way, we'll see what comes of some door knocking.
Right,
If you've
and that
liked
was
what
the
you've seen in
one.
this video, there are other videos on the channel. If you haven't,
That's the one then where he goes to the other place and finds. This is him, isn't it? We'll just show you what it was because
Charge you for a ride on
here it is.
lawnmower.
Wow.
Yes, come on, there's a red light. And the sniffer was working, it just took a while for the charger to warm up. Here, building up.
Hooray!
Blimey heck.
And this was a coordinated test back at home.
What's your recourse?
Display, but
If you find somebody with a dodgy power supply like that, I mean, you can obviously ask them, would you mind not using that? But they can just turn around and go, you know, I need my power.
Yeah, they can, or you can offer to buy them one because it's probably worth your while doing so.
There is actually somebody that does that. That if anybody's causing interference, they actually offer to give them one that has filters in it.
Yeah.
But why on earth we allow the Chinese to present a filtered supply for the government to inspect, and then suddenly lose all the filtering components when they send the real McCoy in? I don't know. We should send them
I'm
all
not sure
back.
that any government inspection goes on. It's all self-certified, isn't it?
Yeah.